In 2021, we got a totally new, revamped kill team, with a completely new rule set based around the Warhammer 40,000 models. We now have 4 completely original kill teams, along with some White Dwarf teams that brought some more flair to the Compendium teams, and some kill team specific terrain. So, what should Games Workshop do with Kill Team in 2022? So there are 2 big issues I'd like to see Games Workshop solve in 2022, and before I go into these, I do want to caveat that I have been loving the new Kill Team. This isn't me bashing on the game, these are just things I think could be improved. I don't want this video to come off as too negative, so just wanted to throw that out right up front. So the first issue is that a lot of the Compendium teams are not only weak, but they seem very bland. And the second is that even though Space Marines are the most popular faction, they seem very uninspired in Kill Team currently. Let's start off with the Compendium. If you listen to other YouTubers or go on basically any forum, this is not an unpopular opinion. Basically everyone agrees that the Compendium just was not that exciting. So I think a lot of this isn't that the actual abilities were that boring, because in all honesty they weren't that different from the old Kill Team. I think where the problem lies is the lack of customization. If you look at the older version of the game, sure they added commanders and we had some elite options we don't have now, but we didn't really have that many more models. Just what the old game did better is you can mix and match. I think they should bring that into the new edition. So using the cookie cutter fire team method was really nice when we were trying to learn the game, for when it was brand new and we didn't really know what all the rules and what was strong and what wasn't. But now that we know these rules, I would like something more akin to what we used to have. Let's use Orcs as an example. So if I'm using Orcs and I'm fighting a Horde team, I would like to know that I can match their numbers with boys, and I can take a lot of Flamers to actually counteract their numbers. But if I'm fighting something more elite like Custodes, I would like to know I can take a lot of rocket launchers and take some knobs with Power Claws to try to use AP to try to get through their defenses. In the old edition of Kill Team, if I was taking Orcs, that could mean a lot of different things, from a lot of Gretchen spam, all the way to running just knobs with power weapons. That might not have been the best example, but just having customization would really help keep the game from being repetitive, especially if there's just 1 or 2 factions you really want to play. You wouldn't have to play them the same way every single time. So I think the White Dwarf teams are doing this pretty well. Granted, a lot of people aren't happy that they're in a White Dwarf magazine, which I agree is kind of weird, but it does add variety to the game. And if we can get those just for basically every team, even if it was a big PDF of basically White Dwarf style teams for the Compendium, I think that would freshen up the game and get people actually excited to play their old fashions that they frankly have given up on. I think another way we could freshen up the old Compendium teams would be to introduce Subfashions. Stuff like the Orc clans or the Tyranid High Fleet, something like that. We'll talk about the Space Marine chapters in a minute though. So what these Subfashions do is they give you another choice to make pre-game that can affect the game later, as well as let you focus on one aspect of a team. For example, you can do a Subfashion that will help you get across the board faster to get into melee or take objectives. Or you can do something that's more defense focused, where if you want to do the security archetype for your secondary missions, you'll be able to do that and it will be harder to shoot you off the board. Just different things like that can add variety to the playstyles of the teams we already have. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about are the Space Marine chapters. Right now you basically have the choice of running one type of Space Marine, whether that's a Tactical Marine, an Intercessor, just one of those types. And that's basically the only choice you have when you're choosing Space Marines. So this is very limited on customization. You basically have equipment and you have some choices in weapon loadouts for something like your gunner or your leader. They do have Deathwatch, but that's the only chapter right now. And they made Deathwatch pretty weak for some reason, so a lot of people aren't really enjoying it. So having the Space Marine chapters would be amazing, but where I think it should differ from the Subfashions is that each chapter should have its own data sheets and basically be either its own fire team or kill team. The reason they need their own data sheets is a lot of the chapters have their own weapons and their own specializations, and I think just giving them one little bonus won't really make up for that. They should have their unique weapons and their unique abilities to really make them stand apart. Like the feel of Deathwatch in the Compendium's good, One of my favorite parts of that faction is that they can switch ammo types mid-fight, and that does shine through. They just need to do that for every faction and make sure they're actually at least mid-tier in the power scaling. As far as actually implementing this, I think it would basically need to be its own compendium-sized book. If you think about every Space Marine chapter, there's a lot of them, so it would need to be pretty big, or at least some kind of large PDF. I personally would want it to be a free PDF, or a book you can buy if you want a physical copy. Obviously, that's not going to happen, and we're all going to go to Wapedia anyways, but, you know. While we're on the topic, I do want to give some love to our heretics out there. I really think this would be an awesome opportunity to add in some Chaos Space Marine chapters. These chapters are really cool. Some of them are more unique even than the Loyalist Marines. The Chaos Marines really don't get enough attention unless it's Thousand Suns or Death Guard. So this would really be an opportunity to give them some personality here that they could even carry over to Big Hammer later. Giving the Chaos Marines some chapters will actually help them not become irrelevant once the Loyalist Marines get their buffs from the chapters. So it will kind of help keep those two on par how I think they should be. So the last thing on my wish list is the only thing I think will actually happen in 2022, and that's that we keep getting more unique creative teams made for Kill Team. I've done some videos about war zones I think should be added, so I'll link those at the end, so make sure to check those out. But I've heard rumors about stuff like we'd be getting the Catachan jungle fighters and its Tyranid lifters. Stuff like that in a jungle terrain would just be awesome to see. I think having these war zones with our Kill Team terrain that's focused on vantage points, as well as having every model have its own personality, really helps keep Kill Team from feeling like just mini 40k. It gives the game personality and really makes it stand apart, and I think that's a big reason it can be its own hobby. So I want to wrap this video up with a few personal tabletop gaming goals of mine for 2022. One is I want to keep upping the quality of content on this channel, try to get better at some of the audio and the video side, keep the content entertaining, and just try to do more creative and fun stuff. I've done some better audio equipment recently and some lighting, which I haven't really played around with, but I want to use some of that to try to do a high quality back rep at some point, just kind of expand what we're doing here on the channel. The community here has really been awesome, so thank you all for making this such a fun project I've been working on. So another goal of mine is I want to build a Orc 40k army, probably 1,000 or 1,500 points, and learn that game. Don't worry, it's not going to become a 40k channel as far as like Big Hammer goes. Just Kill Team and 40k always get compared, so I think it would be good to actually really know that game as well. And then honestly, the main reason I'm doing it is a lot of the hobby stuff looks really fun from that side of it. I don't know if I'll play it that much, but I really want to build some of the vehicles and the jets and stuff like that. Alright, that wraps up this video of what I think should happen to Kill Team in 2022. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.